start with any questions.
Dual threat quarterbacks haven't exactly been great for this Wyoming team over the last handful of years, but what do you see in Calandria, and is he a true dual threat guy?
Yeah, I know he's true dual threat. I mean, he runs very well. I mean, look, he's got 229 yards rushing, and he's completing 72% of his passes. So, look, you start there with the fact of, they have him. They've got a very good running back. They've got 3 receivers that are, all combined have 40 catches and 600 yards, basically. Calandria is the key. I mean, he's an extremely talented quarterback, and possesses the dual threat capability that is something that everybody is always wanting to have in their quarterback, and that everybody finds challenging defensively to play against.
Jay, any injury updates coming out of the bye, and specifically Nathan Geiger?
Yeah, so Geiger will miss the rest of the season. He'll have a surgery on October 6th, so he'll be out the rest of the year. Jake Davies will take over for Nate there, and it's kind of where we're at. The other injuries we're in a pretty good spot with, but Nate will miss the rest of the season. It's unfortunate for Nate because he worked so hard to get back and was playing pretty well, for that to happen, basically the graft to the previous surgery tore, so he'll have to have that repaired. So,
Coach, how has the defense responded in the past week at practice since Colorado?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that we want. I mean, there was really, when you look at the Colorado game, the unfortunate part of that was you're talking a couple breakdowns and a couple key situations, or a couple people not playing the way that they needed to play, and so we've addressed that, worked on that, and I think that there's a variety of different things that we could improve at defensively within that. I think there's some guys playing very well defensively. I think there were some guys that had been playing pretty good. I think we had a couple guys that just didn't play very well at CU, and that was something that we get addressed and get worked on, we continue to keep pounding in the secondary with the group that we've got, because I think there is a good group there, but we're giving Brooklyn Cheek more reps, kind of targeting Justin Taylor at one position instead of 2, so there's little tweaks and things. We've got talent, so it's not about like go find a new this or go find a new that. That's not the issue. We've had some things that I feel pretty good about. Tyson Dean continues to make progress, so eventually I think we're going to see him rotational here very soon, and so that's something that I kind of expect to see as we go into this next stretch of games.
We always hear about Sam Sula and Florentine, and rightfully so, and bias, of course, the last couple of weeks. But I'm curious what your early thoughts are on Jaden Williams, a guy who had to step in for a couple guys who tore their Achilles, and the former Jaden Williams.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Williams is, he's done some good things. We have a very, very high expectation level for Jaden Williams. So to say he's met the expectation level that I have for him, he's not met that. But by the same token, that's a very, very high level that I expect. He's done good things, and he's made some. He's been a positive for us this year so far. That's a very gifted player, and so there's a lot more that you could ask Coach Gibson the same thing, and the fact that we know that there's a lot more in him that can come out, and he can be really, really impactful. And so that's the goal here now and going forward, is to continue to bring that out of him, and so that's where we're at.
Jay, UNLV's defense giving up around 430 yards a game. I mean, do you kind of look at this as an opportunity for some of these wide receivers to kind of contribute more consistently?
I don't know if I look at it as much as about them as it is about us just needing to involve more people. I think that there's certain things that we've got to do from a structure standpoint. I think some of the things are on some of our players, to be more productive. And then I think we also will look at some things from a play call standpoint too, about, okay, how do we get more people involved maybe earlier in things. As far as looking at it from a UNLV perspective, look, they've had some games in there where they're up a couple scores and stuff, and I think when they need to play, they've played pretty well, and I think that they're going to present a challenge to us Saturday night and everything that way. But so there's not any perspective where we're going, okay, let's get this and this. We want more guys to play good. That's one of the things that, I made a statement the other day, like the sand is kind of tipping in the hourglass on a couple people. They got to step up, and so that's a big piece of it too.
You've got commitments from Jackson Garrett and Beck Haswell. How important is it to get that top Wyoming talent here? And what do you do as a staff to make sure that does happen?
Well, first and foremost, I can't comment on a specific player.
Oh.
Okay, by NCAA rule. Which is stupid anymore, here I could give a guy an Aston Martin in theory, right? But I can't comment on whether a guy's commit. Isn't that one of the stupidest things that you ever hear of anymore? Here, we'll give you an Aston Martin from a James Bond movie, but I can't say a word about you. No, in reality, is this from a recruiting perspective? I really, value. Look, there's a value placed on players that are in local areas, whether it be Wyoming, cross the border into Colorado, cross the border into Nebraska, because players that are within 4 to 5 hours of home, obviously have a much higher percentage of staying their entire time. That's first and foremost there. Secondly, you're always going to look at it from a perspective of, this isn't like fast passes at Disney World. It's like the guy's got to play. He's got to be a good player. Players that we have committed from the state of Colorado, state of Wyoming, state of Nebraska, different things that way we feel are good players. And so we're able to put ourselves in that spot there. We're about halfway done with the class of where we're going to be at. I think right now we're at 12 commits. We've got 5 coming in this weekend, maybe 6. We've got 5 next weekend. And we'll have right now probably 4 or 5 when we play Colorado State in that regard there. So the goal would be when we get, and then, there's a target number of transfers that there's certain positions that I already know that we will take a transfer at this position. So we probably have about, one more offensive lineman, a running back, a tight end, 2 receivers, a linebacker, and 3 guys in the secondary as far as high school guys right now. That's kind of where we're at. So I like the space that we're in. It's one of those things, and when